Welcome, guys, to a special UK-based World Cricket Fans Forum in partnership with Rajasthan Royals Fans Forum. We've got an excellent panel today, and only one person from India, which is Mihir. How do you feel, Mihir, surrounded with all these British?
It's good for a change, because normally Indian fans are not in the minority. We normally are dominating on the field and off the field as well when it comes to supporting the stands. So it's good for a change.
Brilliant. And firstly, Vinay, let's clarify this. Let's clarify, who are you actually supporting tomorrow?
Well, I'll be supporting England, I think, for this series. I really want them to do well out in India. We know that India are going to be strong following the Australian series. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching some good Test match cricket and seeing the battles. But I want England to do well out there. So that's why I'm going to be kind of rooting for them.
And Debbie, your allegiances will be England, I take it?
Absolutely, England all the way for this one.
Oh, brilliant. And okay, who do you think is going to win? That's the question.
Not England.
Not England. Chris is a bit shocked. Chris, can you enlighten us with that expression?
We've not got off to the best of starts, have we, England? Let's face it. A rogue banana skin was left on the steps of the England dressing room, and we've already lost one of our key batsmen. So look, it's going to be an extremely tough series, and I don't envy any of England's 11 players that's out there tomorrow morning doing their stuff against India. India have returned from down under as mega superstars. I'm not contrary to any of the coverage that's happened in India, but if they haven't built them up to be bigger superstars than they already are, then I think they've missed a big event. But there's 22 players out there. England, we've not done well in India since 2012, 2013. It's going to be an extremely tough series. It's how we go on tomorrow morning. I know everybody says in cricket, it's that first hour is crucial. Tomorrow morning, if England are bowling, then we must take wickets in that first hour. And if we end up batting first, we must put a good score on that board. If we get a draw out the first test, then that's good for the second test. We lose the first test, we've got our backs up against the wall. I don't think England can do what India did in Australia. Lose that first test and turn it around. I don't think we can do it. It's always difficult playing India in their own backyard.
And we go to Coach 365, Tom. How do you think? Are you agree with Chris, or do you think England will show some fight in this series?
My heart says that I think there will be some good individual performances with bat and ball, but I think India are too strong all round, especially at home. However, I do think that there could well be a bit of a, some kind of reaction in a negative way from the Indians because of coming back on such a high. It's very difficult to maintain that level of performance and motivation, having achieved what they achieved in Australia. So if I was the England coaching staff or management team, I'd be looking to capitalise on that and really try to get stuck in and play aggressively the first game, first day of the first test. But you've got, like Chris says, you've got to stay in it to begin with, and whether it's batting first or bowling first, that first session will set the tone for the rest of the test match and the series, I think, for England.
Yeah, and that seems to be the main thing, is are England coming out of a high in Sri Lanka? Can they replicate that into Indian conditions, where the bowlers of India are obviously at a better level, and obviously the batting of India is superb. And for Mihir, from an Indian perspective, India coming with overconfidence.
That's right. I won't say it overconfidence, but still, I think as Indians, I think it would be, even Virat Kohli addressing the team, the way he would address this is new series, new game, new milestone to conquer. So I think England is a tough side, and when it's an equal amount of challenge, because even in Australia we had a different sort of challenge where we didn't have the a full strength squad, but now we've got to defend the home title, the home performance that we usually do, and we haven't lost a test in a while. So I think that's something that will play to the pressure, but still overall I think the side we have got now, skipper Virat Kohli back in the squad, and Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma looking extremely confident. So those are good signs. So I think I'm backing India on this one.
Over to you, Prav. And yeah, do you see India making many changes, or do you think they'll go back to plan A with all the established players?
I think with India, we'll probably stick with like the plan A players. The only real question is if we're going to pick Axar Patel or Kuldeep Yadav. And it really depends, because I heard like some of the pitches that you'd make them more fast bowler friendly, which will be interesting, because if that is the case, then that does favour England a bit more, especially with the likes of Anderson, Archer and Broad. But if it's a spinner's wicket, then yeah, I can't really imagine India really I can't imagine us changing the side anyway. So even if it's a spin or pace wicket, but in terms of like the whole series, it would probably be more interesting if it is more of a fast bowler's wicket, because as much as I want us to win 4-0, it would be kind of boring if we did at this point, because we'd probably absolutely because our spinners are just better than England's, and without Adil Rashid, I don't think they're really capable of playing in India. Like, no disrespect to Jack Leach or Moeen Ali's decent, but he just isn't a frontline spinner. So those are my thoughts.
Brilliant. And yeah, so the team selection, that's going to be a key point of what's going to happen in the team series. And remember, if you look back at Australia, there was a lot of injuries, and the question of whether England will have the depth if say Leach got injured, or for heaven's forbid Root got injured, what would come in? Would they have that depth that India had over in Australia? I think that is going to be the key. I'm just going to bring on Dawn. Dawn, are you there?
Yes, I am. I'm still here.
Hi, Dawn. And Dawn is our first timer from Birmingham. Dawn, are you looking forward to the cricket, watching India versus England?
What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get more African and Caribbean people interested in general.
Brilliant. And it's cool. It's just the line there slightly. Yeah, and obviously Jofra is going to play a big part in that, isn't he?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And again, this is another thing that is first for England. Cricket is back on terrestrial TV. And I am so excited and happy about that, because when I was a kid, if I had to pay Sky subscription, I would not be into cricket. I would be into probably, match of the day football. But cricket being on terrestrial TV, especially to increase the audience, and as Dawn rightly said, is to get this new African Caribbean fan base in England, get that rising back. Cricket needs a strong West Indies team. Over to you, Vinay. Spin. Your favourite topic is spin. Are India going to create a spin-friendly wickets, or as Prav said, there might be bouncy wickets?
It's hard to tell, isn't it? But I think spin-wise, I think it was mentioned earlier, you got Jack Leach and Don Bess, who done well in Sri Lanka, but they've done well in Sri Lanka partly down to some poor batting performance from Sri Lanka. But the Indians are going to be on the money in terms of batting against them. I think they're going to find it hard out there on the pitches. I would like there to be kind of the bouncy pitches. I want Jofra going full pace at the Indian attack, with raw pace. But yeah, let's see how the wicket gets all kind of turned out, and let's see what happens. I think the England spin pair, I think they'll be in for a tough time. But they come with a bit of confidence, so let's see how they go. One thing I would like to see at some point in the Test matches is Amar Reddy.
Yeah,
really looking forward to him making his kind of Test debut at some point. But I think with Bess and Leach, they're kind of solid there at the moment.
Cool, and that's a big key wicket that Omar Verdi, and again, I've luckily met Omar Verdi, and he's such a nice guy, and it would be brilliant to see him actually play for England and see if he can sway fans like myself and Prav to support England, because that will be very interesting. Debbie, up to you. Anderson and Broad, will they play all the test matches, or do you think they might alternate and Joffre play all the matches?
I don't think they'll play all the matches. No, not at all. I think they'll alternate them. And I think we lump the two in together. But of course, Stuart Broad is a fair bit younger than Anderson. So I'm sure he's probably a little bit upset by that to a degree. But no, I don't think they'll play them together. Nor do I think actually Archer will play every match either. We've got Chris Wokes, who is fantastic for England as well, and Ollie Stone. I'd like to see Ollie Stone given a chance as well.
Come on, the Bears! Come on, you Bears!
so I don't think. No, I don't think we may not see Broad and Anderson together again. Actually, and I would like to see. I don't think Archer can play 4 test matches. I think the way he bowls, it's an unusual environment for him. No, I think we'll see some change arounds with the bowlers.
And over to Chris, the opening pair of England seems to be a big problem with the opening pair, like India have, but now they've got Rohit and Shubman, probably who I'd like to see open. What do you think? Zach Crawley getting injured, that's a big blow for England, isn't it?
Well, it is. But Burns and Sibley will open the batting for England for sure. But it's that third batsman slot. Who's going to take that? Lawrence, Dan Lawrence is probably one of the favourites after his performance in Sri Lanka. But when you look at the pitch, do you bring Moeen Ali in to bat number 3? He has batted number 3 before. Or do you bring Chris Wokes in to bat at number 3?
Wow.
They've got we have a big choice. Yeah. Certainly, Joe Root is not preferred a third batsman. He likes to bat at number 4. That's where he gets his runs. And I think to put him up to number 3 would go against Joe Root's wishes, and it may upset the performance on the team. So that third slot for that batsman is crucial. My personal choice, and I've tried to get in contact with the ECB and Dan, the media manager that I know. My choice would be for Dan Lawrence to play at number 3.
And Debbie, you're a big fan of Dan Lawrence.
I am a big fan of Dan Lawrence, and Dan Lawrence doesn't bat at 3. I think to put a young batsman on his first tour of India in at 3 is a no for me. I think one of the more established players needs to step up there. Actually, I've listed my team down, and I've actually got Ben Stokes in at 3.
Wow.
I don't want to see Dan batting at 3. Dan down at 6, Pope at 5. I think Pope has got what it will take to be a 3, but not just yet. You know, let's Ben step up and play 3.
Wow.
I think you're right on Joe. I don't think Joe doesn't want to.
There's a cat.
Hello?
Absolutely, every time.
She's a regular. She's a regular on the shows.
She has to make an appearance.
Maybe we should get the cat. Maybe we should get the number 3.
Yeah. But please, I'll be.
Shout your name out and see if the cat votes for it.
I'll be disappointed if they put Dan in at 3. I think that's too much.
And Tom, do you have anything because the batting order of England is going to be crucial to this, because if India get a big score of 550, 600, which we're expecting them to get, England has to bat, possibly 3 days. And the quicker the India takes the wickets, it's going to be difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be very hard. I think everyone's expressed really good opinions already about the sort of the difficult nature of selection for the England batting team. But I personally would put Ollie Pope at number 3. I don't think Dan Lawrence has got the experience, even though he did well in that first innings in Sri Lanka. I think it's a very, very big ask to put him into the first Test match. I think with Stokes back, then he automatically replaces Bairstow, which is a very strange omission because of his experience of playing in Indian conditions, albeit in a very different format. But with the players they've got, I'd stick with Burns, Sibley, and 3 at Pope, and 4 Root, 5 Stokes, 6 Butler, and take it from there. And those 6 have to take responsibility for. It's not so much about sort of fast runs. It's about occupation of the crease, and trying to play to their strengths. Sibley, I think, did very well towards the end of the 2-match series in Sri Lanka, having adapted his style of batting to the spinners. Burns is normally a good sweeper and enjoys playing against spin. Pope is one of the best prospects for England, I think, we've had since Root arrived for Test match cricket all round, but he's been injured, so they might not put him in first game, but he would still be my selection for 3.
Wow. And that's the thing. Had we got Zach Crawley, and Zach Crawley could have come in at 3, I think that would have been an idea. I personally like Zach Crawley at 3 rather than opening. So that's going to be cool. Let's be back to India. Virat Kohli hasn't scored a century all last season. He's just had a baby. Will his mind be on the job?
Absolutely. He's a champion player, isn't he? So it's been a tough year, but I won't count it as an entire duration, because most of that period was in the lockdown itself, where no matches were played. So I feel that, and the way he was batting in the first Test match in Adelaide, he was about to score a century in the first day-night Test match overseas for India. But unfortunately, because of that run-out situation, the 100 will take a bit more time, and I think England is the right opponent to score 100 against, because it's a quality bowling attack as well, and the way he batted in England as well against Anderson, and didn't even throw his wicket against a champion bowler like Jimmy Anderson. So that speaks about the volumes of the practice and the dedication he puts in every single time when he comes out to bat. So I think he will lead from the front. He has a bit of a statement to make, leading from the front, obviously. So hopefully, looking forward to it.
Oh, brilliant. And that's again, I say we're looking at whether Rohit Sharma opens and gets all the runs and gets all the publicity and gets all the social media attention, or will it be Virat? So that's going to be interesting. And I know, Debbie, you're going to miss Ravi Jadeja. Jadeja's not playing. And
Boo, I'm very upset about that. But
brilliant.
Hopefully he'll be here next summer, though, instead.
Oh, he will be here in the summer, I guarantee you, and hopefully we will see him. Prab, to you, bowling options for India. I know they've now got 12 bowlers that can all come in and bowl, whether 1, 2, 3 or 4. Are they going to go with 3 pacers, and will Siraj play? That's the big question. Will Siraj play, or will it be back to Ishant?
Personally, for me, I don't think you can drop Siraj. So if it's going to be a spin, and India will know this if the wicket's going to be turning. And if it is, I'll probably go Siraj and Bumrah, and then play the 3 spinners with Sundar, Ashwin, and probably go with Kuldeep Yadav over Axar Patel. And if it is a Pacers wicket, then we can use anyone else we need. We've got Saini. We've got, who else played in the Test match last time? I forgot now. Yeah, we got a lot of bowling options, so I don't think India's really worrying about that. And in the case of Ishant Sharma specifically, normally he probably would be first choice, but you can't drop Siraj after he literally carried the line forward for the 4th Test match. He was the most senior bowler with 2 Test match caps, so I don't think anyone can justify that, dropping him. So it would be interesting if they do, because I don't think the quality will drop, and this is a really good problem for Thingy to have, Ravi Shastri, because ideally you want all the players to be in this form. So I think more so it's more about what England are going to do this series, and like Debbie mentioned, who's really going to fill in that number 3 role. Because personally, I think it should probably be Ben Stokes, as someone who's a little bit more aggressive, but he's played in the IPL. He's familiar with the conditions, and it can just take a little bit more pressure off someone like an Ollie Pope or like a Dom Sibley, that kind of player, and it can kind of ease them into things a bit more. Ideally, we could go Joss Butler 3, but if he's a keeper, I don't know if you want him batting long periods and then keeping long periods like that. So, but otherwise, I'd probably say Stokes should be batting at 3.
And it's one of those areas, because if for Rajasthan Royals fans, we know Stokes was opening. And I don't think England are going to go to that route, are they? So in the test match. But again, it's a key area of the batting against the bowling. And I think spin, the way the England batsmen will play the spin bowling, especially after 25 overs, because they're going to have a barrage of spin. And how they cope with that, that's going to be important. I'm just going to bring in Dawn quickly, if Dawn is still there. Is she still there?
Hi, yes,
Okay,
I'm still
we're not
here.
getting Dawn.
I'm still here.
Cool. Good. Just a quick one. Terrestrial TV, I know when we were young and we were watching terrestrial cricket, will that increase the participation, especially with the African Caribbean community, as that's one of the areas you're looking to do?
Yeah, I think even more so because we're in this this environment of, you know, quarantine and stuff like that. A lot of people are, you know, watching things not just on terrestrial TV, but they're catching things on YouTube and you know and other platforms that are out there. And if I give the example, there's like I don't know if anybody if supports Arsenal as a football team, but Arsenal has a very big. You do, well, Arsenal has a very big. Arsenal TA, you know, which is growing and growing and growing, and that's where you'll have like discussions about, you know, Arsenal and football and stuff like that on Twitch channels. So I think, you know, there's you know, for the growth in engagement on terrestrial TV, also the growth on other platforms, and also I don't know how it's going to work in terms of delivery of the cricket in terms of engagement and spectators. So if there's a reduction in the spectators because of the quarantine rules or social distancing and stuff like that, that means that more and more people have to turn to terrestrial TV in order to engage with it.
And that's the point, and that's one of the reasons why all these fan channels are currently springing up. And my idea for the Rajasthan Royals Fans Forum was to get fans engaged, because we couldn't do it at the pitch. I know Tom does a fantastic job with his coaching, and all of you guys with World Cricket fans, that's one of the areas that they're doing. They're connecting fans all over the place. So had Gurnam Singh not seen my stuff, I've not seen stuff, we'll be here together. So it's really connecting those fans in different areas. But the one common goal being, we want to grow the game worldwide.
Absolutely, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
And I think all fan zones, as I said, I'll be building that, you know, that African fan zone. As earlier on, Surinder, I see it being one great big, you know, universal fan zone, growing the game, and you know, and growing it to a newer audience, especially younger people, more women as well, and that's how I see it going.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we've got this channel. It's such diverse. It's one of the channels which are, in my opinion, we've just got such a good fan base around the world, and connecting with World Cricket Fans Forum and connecting us here, and you guys, you are the actual making a change in this fans and making the game accessible, which is great. Just going back to the game quickly, I know we're running out of time. Vinay, coaches, how big is the selection issue going to be for England, and will that affect what goes on afterwards in when India come to England?
Yeah, look, I think there's going to be a rotation policy in the Test matches, I believe, or like after a couple. I know Butler's only in for one. I think in terms of the coaches and the selection, I think they'll run with the different squads that they've got for the two Test matches each. So, look, I think they've got to really use the opportunity in India and not think of it as just like, let's just roll these players out, let's just do this. Let's take it. I think it's got to be taken quite seriously, because when India come here, we need to be prepared. So, yeah, coaches have got a big role to play, especially if they're going to be rotating players.
And Debbie, the World Cricket Test Championship, that's such a big question that people are talking about. Do you think it's made a difference to the game of cricket?
Not yet. I've got a bit of an issue with the fact that the so-called big three play so much Test cricket compared to the rest of the world. So I'm actually really thrilled to see New Zealand there. The setup's all wrong for me. if those big three aren't very careful, we're going to just have the three of them and no other test playing nations. They've got to allow them in a little bit more. And I'm not sure it has made a difference as yet, but I'm thrilled that it'll be New Zealand. And I think it will probably be India that we see against them, but which will be a fantastic match. And it won't be decided by boundary counts. So that's
and that was said to this. That was said by the New Zealand coach this morning.
Cool.
It won't be a special super over decision. And Chris, the pink ball. Let's go on to the pink ball. Is that going to make a difference day-night cricket? Do you think that's going to increase the cricket fan base?
I'm not quite sure that's going to increase the cricket fan base, but the day-night games are going to be more in favour, I think, of India than of England. We don't play an awful lot of day-night games in England. They play a lot more, so I think that favours the India, the day-night games. Going back to the question you gave to Debbie, I agree with Debbie. The ICC have to come together with all the rest of the cricket nations and restrict the top three countries playing that much cricket. Otherwise, we're going to, like Debbie said, it's going to be like football, and it's going to be the top three teams in England each year, and nobody else is making the improvement. So they need to restrict the top three teams playing and bring the lower teams up so they play the same amount of games as everybody. Well, they all play the same amount of games together, really.
Yeah, and one thing that I'm seeing quite a lot, and I'm going to go to you, Tom, is do the UK have the facilities to, one, the weather, we know how bad the weather is here, the facilities, and are India catching up, getting the better facilities? Because I saw a post from a friend from Mumbai this morning, and they've got like a cricket cage, proper grass, everything. Is that going to be a big role getting more people into the game?
Massively, yeah. I mean, I think there are, there's so much more opportunity in India just for playing cricket recreationally because it's the number one sport in the country. So, but in terms of facilities, quality of facilities, you have to be lucky, and perhaps you have to also consider financial affordability to be able to play at clubs where that you've got those kind of facilities you referred to. But there are a myriad of academies that are springing up all over the country. Some of which I've got pretty good nets, and 1,000 kids turning up at a weekend. Not in the summer, might get 8,000 at a weekend. 8,000 kids, so it's totally on a totally different scale to what we know of in England. We are weather dependent. We are a 22-week, if we're lucky, 22-week season sport compared to football and winter sports that carry on now pretty much throughout the whole year. So we're at a massive disadvantage in that respect straight away. And I think also credit should be given to the Indian cricket authorities at the very top in terms of how they've aligned it at professional level regionally, because it's probably the best example model structure in the world, and that's why we're seeing them perform so well at test match level now. And it wasn't a surprise to me. I had a cheeky little bet on India, even though their backs were against the wall in the final two test matches, to get something out of that Australia series. So even though very, very, very inexperienced, incredibly well as first-class cricketers back in India. So the structure that is now in place in India and has been for maybe the last 5-10 years is starting to produce real talent at the very top, and got lots of lessons to learn, but it's not a like-for-like comparison because of all the things we just talked about.
Brilliant. And that means beers on Tom, because Tom betted on India where even I had given up. Yeah, I had given up. I was praying for rain for the last two test matches, as you all know, and the rain came and went, and India won. Beer, as I say, you've heard that from our fans, our English fans. What is India doing right that England can learn from?
Well, possibly just, from the fan engagement point of view, just it's a vicious cycle, isn't it? More performance, better performance. You see broadcasters coming in, you see more cricketers, young cricketers growing interest. You see more grassroots participation facilities. It's a vicious cycle. So that's something that happens naturally on the field. Off the field, it's all about just how well you market the sport, how well you're trying to grow the sport overall. Now, if I'm talking about on the field, I think England has to have a look at how well India performed in Australia despite all the struggles, and they should be believing that they have good chance to win this series, because India would be under pressure as well. It's also about maintaining that status of dominating in home conditions. So I feel it's going to be a good series overall, and it can go either ways, to be honest.
Oh, brilliant. And that's what we're all here to learn, what different structures, because I go to India, but I have never really experienced a game of cricket in India. And on my to-do list, IPL, I'm going to tick that box, a test match, India, and I'm going to tick out ODI before, I leave this earth. That's on the to-do list. Prav, finally to you, and then we'll do our predictions. Prav, as you coach quite a lot of young people, and that's how we met. Why do young Indian, third generation Indian fans support India rather than England? That's a big question.
It was an interesting question because I've got a lot of Kiwi and Australian mates who ask the same thing, because in Australia, the first generation, second generation Indians there, they support in Australia and New Zealand. And I think it possibly could be the fact that since the immigrants came here a lot earlier, it might have been a way to hold on to the culture a bit better. And I think part of it might be due to the direct fact that England was the British Empire, whereas in Australia and New Zealand, you don't really get that effect as much, because in South Africa as well, it's the same thing. A lot of Indian and Pakistani immigrants there all support South Africa. So, I mean, my mate did an interview on it, and it's kind of a hard one to nail because there's many different reasons. Because if you also live in more of an Indian community or Pakistani community in England, you're more likely just to support India or Pakistan. But going back onto how to get more people involved in cricket, though, I think one thing that we could do here that India and Pakistan do well is tape ball cricket. All it needs is a tennis ball, some tape. It's quite fast, and you just need a place to play, really. And I think it might be even a bit better than quick cricket, because if you're a bit older, say if you're 21, 23, you don't want to be throwing balls underarm, that kind of thing. But if you can get a bit of pace on it, I mean, if you look at people like Siraj, he came from tape ball. And I think it's something that's fast-paced, and it can almost be like cricket's five-a-side football. And it's very cheap, and you can play it in the rain if you really want to, and you can play on concrete wherever you want to play, really. So I think that's something that the ECB needs to look at.
Yeah, and that's one thing that we're trying to do, is trying to obviously get this show onto the ECB and get them to watch this thing, because I say we're doing multiple things here. We're talking about the cricket, we're talking how we're going to improve the game, and also suggestions from real fans. And I'm going to go on to you, Vinay, and Vinay's an excellent thing because he has his son Rohan, and that's how we met, through Rohan. Rohan, superstar player from Hampshire, doing wonderful stuff, and such a brilliant example of a young Indian-born, Australian-born, English bred, Indian heritage, the mixture of that kid. He could play for 3 countries.
At this moment,
such a brilliant example of what a mixed community we work in, a diverse cricket base we have. But one thing keeps us all together, and that is a love of the game of cricket. And I'm so honoured and so proud of you guys being part of the Western Roars Fans Forum, being part of the World Cricket Fans Forum, and it's been amazing for me to be, getting to know you guys over the last few days. And now we've got England, probably demands, and we'll get more people from India, and we'll connect the world, because the world is a small place. Finally, predictions, Vinay, serious prediction from you. India versus England, what's the score?
I think it'll be England would put up a good contest, but I think India will win, given it's their home conditions. So I'm going to go 2-1 India.
Debbie?
I'm going to go 2-1 as well. Yeah.
2-1. Chris?
To get into the World Series, we need to win 4-0. But I think it'll be a 1-0 to India.
1-0 to India. Oh, that would be interesting for the World Test Series. Tom?
3-0 India. I think we'll manage to scrape a draw.
3-0 India. That sounds good. Mihir?
3-1 India.
3-1 India. And Prav?
I'm going to say 3-0 India as well. I think it's just very unlikely to happen the other way around. No offense, but I just don't think England are there yet. Sorry.
And I'm going to
pains
go.
to say it.
Yeah, I'm going to
None
go
taken, Brad. None taken.
I like 3-0. I like the sound of 3-0. I want England to at least draw one series. Is there going to be rain in India, Mir, or is it going to be nice and sunny?
No, it's going to be nice and sunny. All 4 test matches, 5 days.
And very hot. And as you know, in England, we are frozen to the bone here. Rain saved us today. So finally, guys, thank you so much for coming. And is it Jai Hind, or is it We Are the Army, Barmy Army? You decide. You decide.
It's going to be the Barmy Army.
Barmy Army, Vinay?
I think it's going to be Jai Hind, but
Jai Hind. I think it's Jai Hind all the way.
Yeah.
Surrender.
Jai Hind, Jai Hind, Jai Hind. And Mihir, Jai Hind.
It's Jai Hind. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind. And thank you guys for joining us, and follow us during the test series. We'll do plenty of shows, hopefully get you guys back on, and at the end we'll see who wins. You've been a fantastic panel.